holiday vacation, and welcome to 2026. First show of 2026 together.
Yes, it is. I didn't even think about that, man. Yeah, we're Ross, man. Y'all you held it down, right?
We did.
We did.
What is that logo? Oh, Florida? You what's that logo?
Florida, little Florida with a golf pin on it.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. We're not going to be able to hear you for this segment.
It's fine.
So you could be saying anything, we just wouldn't know. All right, Blaine, it's the regular season finale. Tennessee Titans down at Jacksonville. Jacksonville has the division on the line in the game, and the Titans just want to play a little bit spoiler, but also show that the improvements that they have made haven't been a fluke over the last half of the year.
Well, this is a game that's really interesting where the Titans have nothing to lose and the Jaguars have everything to lose here as far as, seeding, as you mentioned. Whether they also, I think, could be a first seed, right, over the Texans if some other things happen in other games.
Yeah, if, like Denver loses, Patriots lose.
Yeah, so first or third. So, it's a lot to them. So, with the Titans, if they're, if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, you're going to see if the Jags get a little tight. Yeah, so so and then I'm looking forward to also, some young guys having, been injured. I'm really interested to watch Oliver. I hope he gets to address it.
Because the Bryce Oliver game.
Yeah, I think he should get to showcase a little bit of what he can do, and whether it's with us or someone else, because he just unfortunately got injured. But he's a good depth piece and special teamer. So it's some other guys like that. So it's a lot to play for on both teams. And some incentives. I saw some incentives there for Pollard there.
And there's some incentives for Van Jefferson, too, who's on IR.
But he can't make. He just needed one more catch.
Now, teams can choose to give an incentive out or something like that if they want to, if they're so close. If they want to.
Oh.
I'm not saying that they will, but if they want to, like if you're that close, sometimes you can bump it or whatever.
Yeah, because there's one more catch like $100,000 or something.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
Man, it's just crazy now how everybody's incentives are out there. Like people are posting different.
Well, you know why?
What's that?
It's so people can bet on them. It's for the bettors.
Oh, man.
Because look at it this way. I've been betting Tony Pollard anytime touchdowns the last 2 weeks because he needs 2. If you don't think I'm going to at least put 60-plus yards for Tony Pollard and 2+ touchdowns so he can reach those incentives, you'd be a madman not to do it.
Man,
but that's why they get out there now, because everybody's now partnered, with some betting platform.
So if you're the owner and he is one touchdown away and it's fourth quarter, we are losing and we're not going to win the game, would you take him out not to give his incentive?
Well, let me ask you this. Mike McCoy's not going to be here next year. What would you do?
I would definitely let him go.
I'd let him do it.
But what if you get a call down from up top?
Man. Surely she's not really paying attention to that.
That's $500,000, right?
Hey,
Jerry Jones could possibly do that.
Hey, last year, didn't they get Ridley his 1,000-yard incentive against Houston? And then they took him out?
They took him out, right. So, I was just joking, but yeah, that's always kind of interesting, now that you bring in the betting part of it. That's
right.
why, oh, my. Yeah, so there's incentives all over the place then.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, though, in the sense of the Titans have nothing to lose. Because I know everybody else is focused on, they could lose draft positioning if they win, and blah, but that's not what the team's worried about. The coaches aren't worried about that. Listen, your GM may be worried about it. I don't know. And that there's a whole new power structure that was released today that their hand was kind of forced in this, is from what I've heard. Their hand was forced. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, we haven't really, I don't feel like we've really seen a team play with nothing to lose in certain instances. So that is something I'm looking for today. Like, you watched the Seahawks and the 49ers last night, and the 49ers obviously outmatched and all that kind of stuff in certain key areas, but they were flying around, flying to the ball, making tough contested catches on offense, breaking tackles, playing like their life depended on. And of course, number 1 seed bye week on the line in this game for the NFC. But for the Tennessee Titans, I want to see that from this team, just a little bit more extra pep in the step. You are outmatched. We saw it in the first game, but maybe in the second game we keep it a little bit closer, because this Jacksonville Jaguars team is on a tear like no other since the trade deadline where they acquired Jacoby Myers. Not saying it's Jacoby Myers is the reason why, but for whatever reason, coincidentally, they have been on fire since week 10.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's because now all the pieces there, and that means he's more the kind of, let's say, intermediate route runner. They got the blazer on the other side with Thomas, and then you got the jitterbug, Washington. And see, now all the pieces, you're attacking it up, let alone Strange there at tight end who can move the chains too. So I think with the running game, as long as Etienne, stays healthy, they'll be pretty formidable. If they can run the football in the playoffs, I think they'll be able to continue to move forward. Also, you got to be aware, Trevor Lawrence has been running the football more than I think he can get a record there with Jacksonville for the most touchdowns in a season or something.
Like multiple touchdown games with the rushing and passing, I believe.
Yeah, some crazy number. So he's finally, with the right coach coming into his own. He's played dangerously, very effective and efficient. So, I don't want to see, and I don't say I want to see, I've seen the Titans play with reckless abandon and, so I'm not worried about that. I want to see if they can make more out of nothing during the game, at least offensively.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about what kind of coach fits with Cam. Like, what's his style? I think he's a vertical style quarterback. When I say that, I mean he's more from 10 to 25 and then down the field past that. I don't think he's a dink and dunk type of player.
That's the rumor that's been floating around that that this staff, this front office staff, isn't, really too concerned with grabbing someone from the West Coast Shanahan McVay tree because they're a little worried from what I've heard about maybe timing issues because, maybe it's an Earnhardt Perkins system is maybe something that works a little bit for him.
Well, I don't know which one of those coaches run the right scheme. When you watch stylistic, and that's not to say that he can't change and adapt.
Right.
I just think that's what's natural to him. When I watch Trevor Lawrence and those guys, that's what I think about too. Liam Cohen. But the running game is part of that. They just haven't been as effective as most. I think they're top 10 in maybe offense, defense, and special teams. They're a pretty solid team all the way around. But nothing spectacular. They just get it done and in discipline with some great athletes with all those high picks, by the way. So this is going to be a tough test. It's just hard for me to swallow that the Jaguars. I think I think they beat the Titans 6 of the last 7 times.
It's been.
That's like no way. Is that right, Ross? Come on, I can't be right on that.
It hasn't been that good since the last 2 years of the Mike Vrabel era. Yeah, it has not been that good since since the end of Mike Vrabel. I'd have to get the exact numbers, but
they just been even when they've been down. So it's a tough one there. Maybe the playoff game was the last one.
25-3 back on November 30th.
Yeah, not that long ago.
It was here. And that was kind of in the middle of Cam Ward looking pretty good. Cam Ward is kind of ascending. Then he comes out here and things just didn't go their way. I think that's the best way to put it is that Cam Ward was 24 for 38, 141 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 3 sacks that day. And they only gave it to Tony Pollard 10 times for 60 yards. 2 times to Tajay Spears. So 12 times they ran the ball with the running back. Listen, obviously the game got out of hand fairly quickly. By the time that the second half rolled around, the end of the second quarter, it was like 18-3. So obviously can't run the football a lot, but you still really can at 18-3. Like it's still not out of the way heading into the third quarter. So at some point you hope that maybe what you learned from last game was maybe because Tony Pollard was getting 10 for 60 on the ground, we can give them the ball a little bit more. Because that's what they've shown to do, and that's when they've been their best this year.
Yeah. Yes. You have to run the football 50-50 most of the games to kind of control the line of scrimmage. And I'm trying to remember now in the game. I remember it was 25-3 the final score, right?
Right.
And I never felt like...
And that was in the third quarter.
The Titans could win that game because they missed some opportunities where it was a throw or a drop on offense, and they kept going 3 and out. And they play a style on defense where they keep everything in front of you. So I think this is a game where he's going to have to kind of take what the defense gives you kind of on the sharp passing game. So this is a mental test for him, really, Cam Ward, if he can sustain just being patient. when his natural instinct is to go downtown or deeper down the field. So, or is he going to scramble around and make some plays and give us some ooh-ha moments?
Yeah.
And I'd rather see Steady Eddie.
There you go.
Steady Eddie sometimes is good.
There, 615-737-1045 is his number. Let's go to Richard in Springfield, who has his keys to the game.
And the keys to the game for the Tennessee Titans to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars is to let Cam Ward throw to the receiver that is in the middle, that is Mason Kinsey, to make catches. And key number 2 is to be able to make sure if Tony Pollard runs the ball in a good way. And the final keys to the game is to let Tony Pollard get a good game and a good running skill. And I think that I'm also going to say is that we need a new Tennessee Titans head coach, and the head coach should be Mike Penning. And go Titans, and the Titans needs to win the game.
And thanks, Richard. Tighten up. Yeah, I agree. You know, do some crossers over the middle and get Tony Pollard going is some great keys to the game.
Mason Kinsey, man. He said get Mason Kinsey involved.
I would say we could find maybe better wide receivers to get involved over the middle, but I do agree with his overall premise of going over the middle and trying to make some plays over there, get some crossers and going, and maybe get them to come a little bit closer so you can take that deep shot.
Yeah, it's I just think they need to be able to run the football to slow this game down and keep it away from Lawrence and those guys. I'm interested to see how our pass defense is going to match up against their pass offense. I just don't feel like we can win that there. And they've been consistent throughout this season, pretty much since probably week 6. The Jags, I think, I saw somewhere where their defense 5 straight games are holding their opponents under 20 points.
Yeah.
Some crazy.
Anthony Campanelli could be a head coaching candidate to keep an eye on.
Is he on your list?
He's on the list. He's on the list. We didn't get to him on the show. He was the part of the clips we didn't get to, but Anthony Campanelli's he's got some.
Where was he at before here?
He was a linebackers coach from Jeff Hafley. So he's like a Jeff Hafley disciple because he's been around the way with him. I think he also coached at Michigan. I've seen a lot of bios lately, so I may be mixing him with someone else. But, yeah, Anthony Campanelli, he's got some dog to him. I like the way he coaches and everything. And his defense has kind of shown that over this time. All right, coming up next. Let's talk about more Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. We should hear from Buck Rising as well. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company. All you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. It's the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company. All you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. And today's broadcast is brought to you in part by SA Recycling. SA Recycling reminds you to be a good fan this game day and look for recycle bins in and around Nissan Stadium. And we head to the phones to Buck Rising, who's on the ground down in Jacksonville. And Buck, I guess let's start off with this. The biggest news that came out over the weekend is that there's a new power structure for like the 15th time in the last 3 years for this Tennessee Titans team. Kind of walk everybody through what actually changed.
Well, that is a very important question. Good morning, boys. Hope everything is well back in Nashville. So the thing that is changing is the reporting structure for how Mike Borgonzi is able to go about his job. Now he will directly report to Amy Adams-Strunk. Now he will completely oversee the coaching search with input from people that are in the building. But essentially, this is his job with training wheels off. And the reason why this is being done primarily is, one, because they feel like they can trust him to do the job to its full extent, and that he has a good working relationship with Chad Brinker, who did have the 53-man roster control and all these different things while they were working their way out of the Rand Carthon situation. It's mostly happening because agents and coaches and agents of coaches were confused about, all right, who am I really working for here, and how is this going to be streamlined, and who is my guy going to be working in conjunction with on a week-in, week-out basis. So they had to clean that up for the purposes of optics as they go through the coaching search. But for the most part, things are going to be status quo. Mike Borgonzi has been doing all of the things that are listed in his restructured responsibilities throughout the whole way through. It's just he's had Chad Brinker there for support.
So basically, Brinker obviously was, or Borgonzi was, Brinker was over Borgonzi, and now he's not technically. Now Borgonzi only reports to Amy, and now Borgonzi actually has more autonomy because, he kind of was allowed to have autonomy last year by Brinker, is kind of how I understand it.
That is an accurate representation of the current situation. Now, whether you agree or disagree with how this works, or whether you think there's any need for somebody like Chad Brinker if you're a Titans fan, or whatever your view on this is, it would be understandable if you just kind of shrugged your shoulders and said, okay, we'll do it again next year. Because you're right, they have done this a million different times, basically since 2019, when they started to maneuver like John Robinson's role around. And then all of these different people started grabbing for different things and different roles and folding different responsibilities into their own tent and things like that. So, yeah, they've done this before. They'll probably do it again.
So with this new structure, I mean, how much of the onus now is on Mike Borgonzi to get the head coaching job right? Because it seems like now Chad Brinker and them have all kind of agreed that, okay, this is Mike Borgonzi's show. He's going to do it. His trusted little council of Dave Ziegler and Reggie McKenzie and Brinker will be there. But doesn't seem like there's no Bryce Wasserman. There's no Burke Nothill involved in the hiring process. Amy's only getting involved at the tail end when she needs to get involved and meet the head coach. Is this really going to be Borgonzi's decision? No. I mean, it's Amy's decision. So, that's what it is at the end of the day, and that's the way that it's always going to be. Don't fool yourself into thinking otherwise. But they are going to let Mike conduct this in a way as he best sees fit. And then, I saw some things that I didn't necessarily think were completely accurate as far as Amy being hands off until we get to the final rounds of this thing. She's going to be involved in some form or fashion the whole way through. Let's not kid ourselves about this. But I do think that you brought up Burke Nothill, the team president, and his level of involvement in the last coaching search, and basically them, not having to publicly eat crow on some of the mistakes that they made, because these are not things fans probably don't care that much about the integral workings of how this thing has gotten to the place that it's gotten. They just care that it's been gotten wrong, and that people need to realign their priorities and realign the responsibilities that have been given to certain people, and make sure that the people with the football backgrounds are the ones in the room asking the appropriate questions, so that another Brian Callahan situation doesn't happen where the guy gets through because he makes a lot of sense in our heads and he checks a lot of boxes as far as what he should be able to do. But Blaine, you brought this up on the pregame show a couple of weeks ago, right? The idea that did anybody really press him on the idea of him having never literally, in the literal sense,
called plays before also being the play caller and the head coach. That shouldn't be something that should have just been glossed over as easily as it was, and I don't think Mike Borgonzi is going to do that.
So where are you at on what they're actually looking for? I mean, they're obviously going to interview. They have about a list of allegedly 15, up to 15 candidates for the least round one. That doesn't include anybody who may get fired over the course of the next 2 days. But where do you think that they are really leaning towards? They obviously want experience, but is it head coaching experience, or is it just play calling experience, or are they really truly just open to everybody?
I would say that it depends on who you ask, right? I'm sure Mike Borgonzi would give it a different answer than Chad Brinker, or might give it a slightly different answer than Amy Adams Strunk. But I think at the end of the day, they want somebody who's going to be the CEO of their football program and be able to soundly delegate. So the experience of being a head coach, I think, takes the biggest priority here. And yes, if you do also bring some additional things to the table as far as your offensive background, your level of experience in quarterback development, like those will be considered pluses. But I think at the end of the day, the most important thing is, do you know how to do this, or have you been around enough people that know how to do this and been given the proper insights? And also, can you work in conjunction with Mike Borgonzi? That relationship's going to be huge, which is why the Matt Nagy thing, as much as it drives Titans fans crazy, that's why it checks a lot of the boxes that we're talking about on the front end. How he interviews, we have no idea, but it's the thing that makes the most sense based on what this place needs.
All right, we're on the phone with Buck Rising, who's down in Jacksonville. We're talking all things Tennessee Titans as they get ready for the regular season finale versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, outside of Matt Nagy, who do you see at the top of the list as far as potential candidates? Because sometimes you know someone so well, like Matt Nagy and Borgonzi have some form of a relationship because they work under the same organization. Doesn't mean that he's the no fire guy that they're going to take. So someone else outside of that, if you were going to pick someone maybe who has a relationship or maybe not, who else do you think is on the list? Give us a couple other guys.
Okay. There's a lot of guys have been mentioned as far as who's going to interview. As far as who's going to be close to the top, I couldn't answer that at this point in time. But I know that they are interested in guys like Jeff Hafley, the Packers defensive coordinator, who's been a head coach before at the college level, and obviously that's a different job, but does have the ability to have the CEO type things. I know they're looking forward to talking to Robert Saleh. I know that he hasn't been mentioned in every bit of reporting around the Titans job and the Titans organization, and I'd be curious to see what his interview process looks like and what his priorities are as somebody who's going to be viewed as a viable candidate. And then I think I'm fascinated about the Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who I am not certain is going to be somebody that Titans fans would get excited about, but I do hope that they interview him, because I think he brings a lot of the things, a lot of the no-nonsense type stuff that they're looking for, just to be able to get this, basically be the kind of adult in the room that they've been lacking as far as head coaching experience goes, even though this would be his first opportunity as a head coach.
Man, that all sounds interesting. I guess now on to the football field. What do you think about the Jaguars, of course, and what they bring to the table with a lot on the line here as far as seeding in the playoffs for them?
Yeah, I mean, they've been rolling through the late part of their schedule, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing good football. Their defense has been consistently stout against the run, which has helped them make teams one-dimensional, even though they're not great at getting after the quarterback that way. They can force your hand in these certain situations, and you can certainly debate the merits of basically any of these top AFC teams who they've beaten en route to stringing together. For example, the Jags have 6 straight wins, and some of that comes against teams like the Jets and the Titans a couple of weeks ago, and the Cardinals, who gave them a tougher time than you might otherwise just chalk it up to a win if you go back and look at some of the turnovers that Trevor Lawrence had in this game. But they're playing good team football across the board. It's not going to be an easy test. The Titans are playing better football in this last month. We'll see if they can certainly put together a better showing, because the last time these two teams met, Jags just smacked them.
Oh, man. And lastly, for me, if you were doing the all-rookie offensive team, who's your quarterback based off what you've seen so far this season from the rookie quarterbacks?
Oh, probably Tyler Shuck. I think he's, it's a smaller sample size. And if you're just going off the rookie season, Blaine, not what are they going to be as pros, I think he's looked better. I think he has looked more ready for this than any of the other guys, and that was kind of always the book on him to hear the draft analysts who were smarter about this stuff than I am, that he was going to be one of the guys that was further along in his development, right? He's 26 years old, so he's closer to a finished product than any of them. If you're looking at just his rookie season, understanding that what Cam has done has been tough, and he should be, it should be acknowledged the way that he's fought his way through a lot of this stuff en route to playing his best football towards the end of the year. Tyler Shuck's been the best rookie quarterback from the sample size that we have of all of these guys.
What do you think, lastly, for the Titans, what should we feel we should be finishing up the season with Cam Ward, and how excited should we be going to the next season, or should we?
Yeah, I think, you go into next season obviously thinking that he's the guy that you're going to build around, and you'd like to see him pushed a little bit in training camp and things like that, just to have him really, feel the level of competition, even if you have no plans of moving on for obvious reasons. He's shown you enough that you need to continue to work towards and build around this guy. But I do think that you should be encouraged by how this has gone. I think that he's growing and learning. I think that the coaching staff deserves some level of credit for that, understanding that those guys won't be back en masse in 2026. There is enough there as a rookie class, despite not getting much out of Femi and very little out of Kevin Winston Jr. in their brief action, that you should be encouraged about what this thing is moving forward, and that they are finally putting together winning opportunities and competitive opportunities, as opposed to just being the NFL's doormat the way that they were for the first half of the season.
Lastly, on Berganzi last season, I know who the draft picks were. Who were the free agent guys that they signed as well? I'm trying to come up with a grade with, where he's kind of in the middle on even free agency. And
so
from
the
year.
guys that, okay, so guys like Dan Moore and Van Jefferson, Draymond Jones, Jihad Ward on the defensive side of the ball, Cody Barton, those kind of guys who, I think, there's Zeitler, right? A mixed bag of dudes as they've tried to stopgap their way through some of this. And he talked about this. I don't think they're ever going to be a team that spends a ridiculous amount of money in free agency. I think they're going to try and be more pragmatic with their spend, even though they do have, one, they have to spend at the cap floor, certainly, and two, they are going to have a significant amount of money. But I think, as I'm looking at Jeff Simmons and the way that he's playing, we haven't seen a player like this. I know Nick Sess had a really good tweet citing some of the statistics or some of the metrics that Jeff is hitting that basically we haven't seen since peak Aaron Donald. I think the bulk of that money should be given to consideration on guys that you want to keep who are doing their jobs here, that you want to also have be a part of this build moving forward.
But let me ask you a question. The offensive line has played better these last 5 or 6 weeks. Do you entertain keeping Lloyd Cushenberry and also bringing back Kevin Zeitler to at least have some sort of continued continuity next year, or is this just going to be either a wait and see or a firm no on those two guys?
I'm probably good on Zeitler. If you're asking me personally, I don't think that's going to get any better moving forward, though I do think it has gotten better towards the tail end of the season. He's 35. He's making $9 million. I don't think that's something that you need to do again. I think that you can find that kind of guard play for a more reasonable cost if you are going to be more pragmatic. I certainly would give consideration to keeping Lloyd Cushenberry. I think, that it's been tough for him, and that he does, what does he count against the cap next year? 12 mil? Ballpark. I believe that is that's right around where the money is at, and that's not an insignificant sum. But I do think that some level of continuity in the middle of that offensive line would make a lot of sense.
You talked about the free agent class and everything. Jihad Ward is another name, but you also have Chigakonkwo also coming off going to be a free agent. I mean, where are you at on keeping some of these guys that have proven to provide you some kind of spark or success this year, particularly just Jihad Ward and Chigakonkwo?
I'm pro both of them. I think Jihad Ward is, God love him, he shouldn't have to be the guy who's out there on the edge leading your team in pressures. That's not a winning formula by any stretch of the imagination, because that's not really what he does, but he's a very viable role player and a really good locker room presence for a lot of young guys. He brings a level of wisdom and just kind of like matter of factness. I don't know if either of you have had the opportunity to talk to him, but I really enjoy those conversations. He's just very straightforward, and I'm sure if he's talking to us that way, he's certainly dealing with the locker room that way. And then a guy like Chig, I'm for on a 1-year deal. I think that, if you give Chig, $7.5–8 million with some of the money that you have to work with, he does something that Gunnar Helm doesn't right now, even though Gunnar can be your 3-down tight end. Theoretically, you still need that guy who's going to be able to give you explosive plays, who can make plays with the ball in space that way. And again, the coaching hire matters here as far as what you want to accomplish. But, we had a caller on the local show earlier this week about the idea of Kyle Pitts. Would you just go get Kyle Pitts? And, for double what Chig would cost theoretically, understanding that they're not exactly the same, isn't that a better spend for the value than going out there and blowing a bunch of cash on a guy that is kind of, it's a very specific type of player. Chig is too, but you can have him for a lot less.
We talk a lot about, the season that Big Jeff has had, double-digit sacks. He can add on to that total today. But the leadership impact, we kind of feel, I think we all agree that an extension is on the horizon here soon. He's got new agency and all that kind of stuff. But a guy that we haven't really talked a lot about, even though I think we all agree he deserves an extension, is Peter Skoronski, who's starting tomorrow. Anybody in the 2023 NFL draft class can have their contract renegotiated or extended. So we're kind of in extension now. You can still exercise his 5th-year option as well. But where are you at on what this front office feels about Peter Skoronski? And you just kind of estimating, do you think he's going to get an extension, or you think they're going to ride out a 5th-year option and then try to maybe kick the can down the road a little bit?
I know they're very pleased with what he's done. So I think they would, their preference would be to get something done sooner rather than later. If I'm Pete, though, I'm being like, no, I can string together a couple more good seasons of football, and at my price point, why would I want to just kind of, wave the white flag and be like, sure, I'll take the security of extra years right away. At least, and again, I don't know this, but this would be my position, is I'd be able to put some better football on tape for a longer period of time and up that value, especially when you see what interior offensive linemen are getting paid nowadays.
Besides, obviously, Cam Ward's development and growth, or I guess his play today, because I guess you can't really develop and grow in just one game, but his play today, who else are you looking at to maybe close out the year strong? Going back to the offensive line of the run game, I'd like to see, a continued level of balance from Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears and kind of how they mix and match them. I like just generally the offense and can they continue to string competitive performances together? I'd like to see them push the Jags, which, is going to be, I'm not under any kind of impression that they would come out here and beat this team at home. But I do think that they're capable of a higher level of competitive play, and I think across the board offensively, you'd like to see that. Lastly, who do you expect on this staff to get a head coaching interview, but also who do you expect to actually have a good chance to stick around? Is there anybody besides Bones Fossil that you expect to have a really good chance to stick around?
I don't think so beyond Bones, but I think they're going to give the next person the opportunity to kind of see what's here, because everybody's under contract, and I think it's a tough question to answer right now because we have so many different variables to pull from as far as what kind of different people they're going to bring in here and how they would view the job that these people have done. I personally would advocate for Luke Stocker. I think he's done a good job, but that's probably the list.
I guess last, before we let you go there, Buck, it's just kind of a coach's decision. If the game is, maybe let's just say, out of reach, and Jeffrey Simmons has broke the D-tackle record of Jarrell Casey of 10.5, gets one more sack, he has the record, do you then let him play, or Cam Ward, or people like this, let's say, going into the fourth quarter that you want to risk injury, or do you let them continue to play out?
Oh, that's so hard, because my position would be, no, they need to play, and I know that that probably seems antithetical. And again, it depends on what they want to do, right? Are the players given any kind of input here? And I don't think Jeff or Cam would want to come off the field. So
no, I don't think they would.
Yeah, you can make that decision if you want to. I would be surprised if they did.
Okay. All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars are 13.5-point favorites at home. Do the Titans cover?
Roma.
Oh, man. I'll say yeah. I don't feel good about that,
little
though.
positivity from Buck. I wasn't expecting it. Last game of the year. You saved all your positivity for this game.
No. If they start to do something that's worth praise, then we'll start praising them. It's just they've been so god-awful for so long. It's just why I talk about them the way I do.
All right. Buck Rising, enjoy Jacksonville, enjoy Duval, and hopefully you get at least an entertaining competitive game.
I would love an entertaining competitive game at the end of the year. Thanks, boys. It's been fun.
No problem.
Appreciate
it. All right, coming up next, we'll talk more Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff right here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop. Nope. Man, just back in the saddle, right? Hey, it's the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Ain't cover 2. Lee Company. All you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. Available 24/7. Put Lee Company on your team to tackle your home's heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical problems. Schedule online at leecompany.com. Lee Company, all you need. 13.5-point underdogs.
Man, that just, oh my.
That's what, the third or fourth double-digit spread for the Tennessee Titans this season?
I forget every last one of them. Oh, man. Do you remember how many that is, Ross?
I don't.
I mean, it feels like it's at least been 3, I feel like. Because I know I bet on 1 for them to cover. But it feels like 3 or 4 at least.
So they done a good job covering? Or no?
They've done better than they were last year. Last year, I think Brian Callahan only covered once out of the 16 games or 17
well, he
games.
hasn't been there most of the
Yeah, but that was last year. But this year,
Yeah.
Mike McCoy's done a pretty good job covering, I guess you could say.
It's what great teams do.
It's what great teams do.
They're going to cover.
I mean, that's a lot. And just...
Man, in the NFL, that is a humongous number.
Well, the Jaguars are 7-1 since trading for Jacoby Myers. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville has scored 32.1 points per game since that Week 10 acquisition. That's third in the NFL since Week 10.
Dang.
The defense has allowed just 15.6 points per game during a 7-game win streak that they're currently on, tying the Eagles for the fewest points allowed since Week 11.
And they're second in takeaways.
Yep. Trevor Lawrence has accounted for multiple touchdowns in 7 consecutive games. He didn't throw one last week against the Chargers, but he rushed for 2. And if they win today or tie, we could see a tie, you never know. Win or tie, the Jaguars clinch the AFC South. And a win combined with a Broncos and Patriots loss gives them the number 1 seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I don't know if any of us would have predicted that the Jacksonville Jaguars would be in a scenario in Week 18 where they could be the 1 seed and get home field advantage. Now, we thought maybe not that, hey, listen, the AFC South's not that good. AFC South turned out to be a little bit better than we all thought at the beginning of the year, but I don't know. It's kind of crazy that the Jacksonville Jaguars had it.
Yeah, I would never have guessed maybe the Colts and the Texans, but that no, I wouldn't. You the Jags? Nah, especially first year coach.
Yeah,
head coach.
And first year head coach.
Man.
First year defensive coordinator as well.
Yeah.
So 2 first-time coaches right there.
So that tells you it can be done with the right hire.
It can be done with the right hires. A little bit of luck, or a little bit of mischief behind the scenes. If you guys don't remember, the whole Liam Cohen hiring situation was Robert Saleh's. Robert Saleh's on his way down to take the job. Liam Cohen says, well, I'm going to take it while he's hiding from the Buccaneers, dodging their phone calls, acting like he's at the hospital when he's not at the hospital. He's actually down there at Jacksonville.
Because he had somebody in the hospital, his family, right?
Yeah. His wife was there,
okay.
Or something like that. Like, it was kind of a whole crazy situation. And then he has the press conference, and then they trade up for Travis Hunter, and you're like, is Travis Hunter really worth trading up for? You're thinking, this whole season just doesn't smell right. And this is where I point to and say coaching matters so much in today's NFL. Because there's a lot of people who say, well, if you have a mediocre coach but exceptional talent, you can be able to find a lot of success. And I'm like, I don't think so. I think coaching matters a lot because we've seen Trevor Lawrence just be very mediocre at best. And Liam Cohen has gotten the best out of him, just like he got the best out of Will Levis, no matter where Will Levis went. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this guy has a reputation of a man. I would say Trevor Lawrence is finally start to live up to the number 1 pick now. We're 5 years later, but we're also, 3-4 coaches later, too.
And it's listen, these last 8 games, he's looked like the number 1 pick.
He looks, really calm. Even when he played here against the Titans. Man.
And Baker Mayfield has not looked as good this season as he did last year.
Yep.
Good point.
That's also Liam Cohen.
I'm not going to lie. Once he did that little Duval.
Yeah.
I thought they were sunk. I thought it was going to be awful.
Yeah. You thought this whole season was going to be off.
I'm like, what is this guy doing here? Come on.
But now it's kind of like their thing.
Yeah.
Man, I think he told us who he was when he stood up to Saleh.
Yeah.
I remember.
He's quite a lot. He's a lot fiery than what you would have thought, because you see him in these post-game speeches. They're using him on promos for the NFL.
After
if
the
you guys were watching it yesterday,
yeah, he's got some little fire to him.
He's got some fire, and it feels authentic, like not forced.
Yeah.
And so I'll say it. Let's start off with 2026 with something that I rarely do. I was wrong about Liam Cohen, at least this year. We'll see. We'll see if it's actually sustained success.
Well, what did you say that he wasn't?
I just think he wasn't going to be good at all. I thought this team was going to be bad. I thought he wasn't going to be good. Like, I was convinced. I had convinced myself that this was going to be one of those years where everybody praises the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then all of a sudden we're looking down. They're just down there with the Tennessee Titans.
They were praising them?
Oh, yeah. People love to praise. It's really weird. They love to praise the Colts and the Jaguars, but not really the Texans and the Titans. I don't know what it is about Jacksonville, but they all love the Colts. But
the Jaguars always had talent. It was about getting the right coach.
Yeah.
So I couldn't predict that was going to be the right hire. I had no idea.
And that's what makes hiring a coach so unpredictable.
It's really tough, but boy, when you hit it, man.
And if you have an opinion on it, you have a 50% chance of being right. They're either bad or they're good, right? Like, I mean, there's no in between.
Oh, man. I don't know. Boy, this one here for the Titans is going to be a big one.
It's huge. I mean, it's so big. And there's two coaches that I think may be on their interview list in this Jacksonville Jaguars game. And I think it's going to be their offensive coordinator, Grant Udinski, who I think they're just going to interview for kind of like sometimes you use these interviews not for head coaching situations, but like, let's use, we got 3 hours of Zoom time. We could do as many Zooms as we want with as many candidates as we want. Let's, cast a wide net. Let's get some ideas. Okay, Grant Udinski does not call plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Well, what if I want to do a situation like Matt LaFleur and Mike Vrabel, and I this Udinski guy, he comes from Kevin O'Connell. He's there with Liam Cohen. He knows how to work with quarterbacks. Great reputation, commanded the room. Let's get him as our offensive coordinator. You can use those for these. And I think the other guy is Anthony Campanelli, who across the way has done a tremendous job with this Jacksonville Jaguars defense. I mean, it has been insane, the turnaround on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball for this team. And like you said, they always had the talent, just never had the coaches that knew how to use them.
Yeah, man. And when it matches up with the talent and the scheme, there you go. There's the Jaguars.
Does the Jaguars feel like a team that maybe I wouldn't say the NFL's overlooking them, because I bet NFL teams are kind of like, I don't know if I want to play the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. But like, feels like media right now hasn't really picked up the train on the Jacksonville Jaguars yet.
I think nationally you're probably right about that. But I think in the circles of the NFL, like teams, I don't know if we want to play them in that first round, man. This team here can be dangerous.
Well, you look at the Seahawks, right? They kind of remind me a little bit about the Seahawks. Much maligned number one overall quarterback, but they got a great defense, good offense. They play complementary football. There's a lot of similarities between those that AFC team and that NFC team, where you could say, okay, these are teams that at any point can impose their will on whoever their opponent is. If they are truly getting hot at the right time, which sometimes it's all that matters, you get hot at the right time, and they carry that over. Like, I don't know if I'd want to play the Jacksonville Jaguars if I'm, the Patriots, the Bills, the Ravens or the Steelers, whoever wins that game. I don't know if I'd want to play that team.
Yeah, especially if their running game is working. I think that's really the key, even for the Titans in this game. And, you got to make sure they can't run the football, because that kind of opens up everything else that they do. But yeah, the Jags are a formidable team. They have all the pieces to the puzzle to make them say, man, it's a team you say, I wouldn't be shocked at all if they made it to the AFC Championship, and then all bets are off then.
I mean, top 8 in points scored on offense. Yeah. They're 9th in points allowed on defense.
They're 13-3, right?
They are 12-4.
12-4, okay.
So if they win today, they'll be 13-4. If the other teams lose, they'll be number 1 overall seed.
Wow.
That's kind of crazy. A lot of high stakes today in Week 18. You got, for rooting interest for the Tennessee Titans, everybody's got to have to kind of grit their teeth and root for the Ravens, because if the Ravens win today, and make it to the playoffs, a 5th round pick they gave you for Draymond Jones turns into a 4th round pick. So
it's based off who made the playoffs. I thought it was
he's
on
already
his
got
sacks.
his sacks and the playoffs.
And the playoffs. Oh.
And so
man.
if you need the Ravens to make the playoffs, turn that into a 4th round pick. That's a pick of 36 spot difference. So that's 36 players better than where you're at. So huge.
Who's favored in that game?
I have to look. I haven't.
Ravens are favored by 3.5.
Yeah,
at home,
on the road.
Oh.
I think the DK Metcalf factor is a pretty big one. Him not being there.
Mm-hmm.
But when y'all talk about the Jags too, I feel like it was one of those things. Everyone was kind of like, "This is impressive. They're clearly a good team, but it's the Jags. Don't think anything of it." Then when they went to Denver and won that game. And played that good, you're kind of like, real NFL fans, you're like, all right, this team's legit. They are for real right now.
I mean, they're feeling it. I think when you talk about, they have had the talent, like you said. So they've had several number 1 overall picks. They've had several first-round picks that are filled with talent that have never reached their true potential. And the Titans kind of don't have that. They don't have that many number 1 overall picks, but they also don't have that many first-round picks that were really trying to wait for their potential to come through. But it's kind of like when D'Amico Ryans also came in for the Texans. They had stockpiled all this talent. That is why those quick boosts from coaching and sustained success kind of coincide. Tennessee Titans, I don't know if they're in that spot, but man, coaching is going to make all the difference in the world for this team next year. It's such an important hire.
Well, now they get drafted by Burgundy.
Yeah,
they could be.
Could be. All right, coming up next, more Tennessee Titans versus Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company, all you need, visit them online at leecompany.com, and this is 104.5 The Zone. It's the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Lee Company. All you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. All right. So we've saw Cam Ward go up against this defense already. Realistically, what all can he do to maybe move the ball better against this defense? Because will the defense show him different looks, this Jacksonville Jaguars defense? Like,
what was the issues last game? Because he threw a lot, but
he threw a lot. He was a little inaccurate.
They played a lot of zones.
They played tons of zones. They're one of those many teams that would show everybody up at the line and push everybody back in coverage.
They were using that mug a lot.
They use that mug every time.
Yeah, they disguised a lot of things, and that's how I would approach a young quarterback. Yeah.
Well, that's how most of the defenses have played.
They did the total
Ward.
opposite. Now I'm recalling. They did the total opposite in their disguised deception of what they did in film, leaving at least the last 3 games before that game. I remember they did the exact opposite. The looks looked the same, but they rolled the safeties differently. It was like, dang. And that little bit of hesitation, I think, led to him getting sacked, I think, 3 times, maybe even more than that in that game when we played them earlier here at home. Dang. So, man, they got some good corners, too. At every level, with the Lloyd kid at that time had like 4 interceptions or something, the linebacker. Like, man, wow.
Playing some of the best ball, and he credits Anthony Campanelli for all of it. So this was a Cam Ward tweet. Not a Cam Ward tweet, but a Cam Ward tweet. I'm going to read it to you. It's from Nate Tice.
Help me, Ross.
And he says, this is in quotes, capital letters, we're going to heat him up and confuse him. Talking about a rookie quarterback. His head is already spinning, man. Just drop 8 in the coverage and make him read it out. And that's what the Jaguars have done. That's what a lot of these defenses have done to Cam Ward. Make him try to read the defenses and go and find the open guy, because eventually the longer he holds on to the ball, and most rookies hold on to the ball for a long time, that means your pass rush can get there. And I'm just wondering, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, do you just go back to what you pretty much did, that same philosophy? You may show different looks, but same philosophy. Or maybe do you throw something different at him this go around and say, okay, now we're going to throw him a little bit more blitz? I would probably just do the same thing until he shows that he can beat it.
You know what? This is the chess match that I love. Like, if I was calling plays, because I would probably approach it like, no, I'm gonna give him a little bit of something that he hadn't seen, get him a little off-hinged, a little rattle, and then I come back with the opposite of what we did the last time. Then you got him, because now he's hesitating, like, oh man, this looks like the all-out blitz that they did earlier in this game. Hadn't shown it before, man. And then you pill him out, and then he throws you one. Like, that's kind of how, even some veteran quarterbacks get fooled. So, yeah, that's kind of how I would play it. I want to have that little bit of hesitation early on in the game, and then you kind of go back to what you normally do. That would probably be my plan if I was them. Because, he threw the ball a lot in the last game, but didn't have a lot of yardage. So that means he was getting rid of the ball. At least dink and dunk. Yeah. I think he got a lot of that yardage on that last drive there, too. Now I'm recalling everything from that game.
I got my little notebook
because that was the game he kept dumping it to Spears. And at the end on the last drive. Yeah. So he didn't do well in that game, man. Yeah,
one thing that makes me think they might switch it up a bit is because after that game, obviously that game was very ugly, but since then the offense has been playing much better, and he's been sort of in a groove. Not saying like he's playing at an elite level or anything like that, but he's been in a groove and he's been playing a lot better. So you wonder if they're...
I want to get him out of that groove.
Based on the tape they've seen the past few weeks, it's like, do we switch things up a little bit this time?
They may.
I think you got to stick with the run. In my notes from the last game, they had 3 explosive runs right off the bat.
On the first drive?
On the first drive.
I remember that.
And remember that they started passing, I think, when they got out across the 50.
Yeah, they just wanted to get pass happy. That's when they realized that they got to run the football.
And Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington were getting wide open by a mile that game. Dagger concepts were just eating this secondary alive, and the secondary has somehow gotten worse since then.
What do you mean? It's very careful. We don't even know the name of the people out there.
Was that the game Kevin Winston said he was in like a completely different position, or was that Seattle?
Yeah, that was the game. He played multiple positions. He played down in the box. I remember he got beat for a touchdown, peekabooing in the end zone.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where he got ate alive that drive.
And they ran what I call the scissors concept, which means one guy runs a post, one guy runs a 7 route. You're supposed to exchange it, communicate before. He ran with his guy. They gave him a half step. He tried to speed turn out of it. Guy ran a post right behind him.
Oh, this is the one where also the game where Mike McCoy had the 3 timeouts and took the delay of game.
Yeah, I think so.
This was just my notes right here says. Can't even believe this is what the team looks like.
That was the last time they looked really. I mean,
really, really bad.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
And so, what you hope for is that this game they learned from those mistakes.
They grew. Also, they kind of went on a little bit of a run here as far as Cam Ward and how he plays.
Yes.
I think you try to make him be patient. If you watch him, he wants the aha moment, and I want to force aha because aha moment doesn't last for long in the National Football League.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I was going to save this conversation a little bit for cover 2, but since we're talking about it, over the break, they interviewed the position coaches, and Bo Hardegree said that he loves that, Cam Ward is Superman, but he wants him to be a little bit more Clark Kent.
Oh, he said that.
He said that. And it's something we've kind of talked about, too.
I think I understand what he said. Yeah, because that's what I see.
And everybody turned that into a negative. Well, they're trying to change who Cam Ward is, and they're trying to make Cam Ward be something he's not, get these coaches out here. And I'm thinking, no, he needs to be a little bit more Clark Kent. He has to learn that aspect of the game.
Right. He has to learn how to be patient and take what the defense gives you and try to force it. That's what I've been saying all this whole time, especially the second half of the season, because I don't think he wants to dink and dunk. It's not his style. But guess what? Every game requires a certain style that you have to play to win the game. So do you want to win the game, or do you want to play the style that you want to play, and then you're not sure if you're going to win the game?
Because Josh Allen has kind of learned how to dink and dunk and here and that. I mean, that's what helped improve. People can conflate completion percentage.
Rivers make a living out of it doing it right here.
And he had a huge arm back in the day.
Right.
And people conflate completion percentage with accuracy, but that's why Josh Allen's completion percentage went up, because he learned to take what the defense gives him and let his guys make plays. And we saw this last game with the Tennessee Titans and Cam Ward, where he's constantly scanning down the field. No one's getting open, but his eyes and instincts are to go down the field. And I'm okay with that, but you got to go through it quicker, right? Like, if you're going to go deep and look for deep, you got to understand, I ain't got it. Time's going off in my head. Time for that alarms to go off, and I got to get the ball out. Like, you got to start making those decisions quicker if you're going to be that. And that's what Josh Allen does. Like, everybody's talking about Josh Allen and all this stuff, and not in terms of comparing Cam Ward, but if you want a guy like a Josh Allen, a Joe Burrow, even a Justin Herbert, even a Trevor Lawrence, if you want those guys, Patrick Mahomes, they dink and dunk and then take the shots. Like, that's what offenses are kind of built around nowadays. And so what Bo Hardegree isn't saying that I only want him to be Clark Kent. He's saying he's got to learn to be Clark Kent a little bit more. And I think that's the perfect way to put it.
But didn't he say it like that? I mean, I don't understand why people got confused.
It's because people just, I guess, they only want to focus in on the negative and blame all the coaches for all the issues. They always got to have a scapegoat. But to me, I thought he said it perfectly what he needs to be said.
Yeah. I mean, it's always another way to skin a cat. I mean, come on, man.
Clark Kent is still Superman, is he not? It's just, he's not trying to be the hero all the time.
Yeah.
Now, but it would be different if he said, like, Cam doesn't have Superman capabilities, but that's not what he said.
Right.
He just said he wants him to be less, like, try to be the hero less than he is right now, but, like, pick and choose those moments.
Yeah. And I would say him, being able to pre-snap read will be a huge advantage going into next season. Now that I think he's kind of seen every kind of style of defenses in the NFL and how to approach them. We got to remember also he's learning that because he's trying to, take out what he learned in college where he was the best player and figured it out and had the best players on the team. He could always throw deep. Well, now if you pre-snap reading, you say, hey, man, they're playing 4 deep. I can't throw deep unless you're going to throw to the outside shoulder to the guy on the outside. Like, you got to know that you can't do certain things in the NFL and certain things you can when you want to take some of those risks, even if they do have a coverage against what you are running. Or do you check out of it? Pre-snap read, changing, plays. I've seen him do that a few times, but not as much as I thought he would. But, it takes, time.
Yeah, I think that when because go back to this article that just pulled up. So this is from Sports Illustrated, the Tennessee Titans side of it. They they took that clip, and here's the title of that clip. Titans coaching staff must stop holding back Cam Ward. That's not what the clip is trying to say. Do you have the clip ready, Ross? He's getting it ready. So we're going to pull the clip just real quick so we can hear it. But
totally
Buck
misinterpreted.
Yeah, that's because Buck says right here, Titans play caller Bo Hardegree on Cam Ward. He's got the ability to be Superman. Sometimes I need him to be Clark Kent. Sometimes. So here's the clip in full.
I mean, they're going to have some good calls. That's the way it is. In NFL football, 50% of them, you're top 5, top 10 in the league on third downs. But that's what we got to do better.
Ball security, he's made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
A little bit of step back in that game.
Yep.
What are your conversations like about that? And where do you feel like he is?
I think he's much better. He's aware. He knew what he did. He kind of saw something pop back. But it's really, like I told him, 1st and 20. Sometimes it's a long handoff. It's just that timing in his head. We kind of talk about this too, and he's growing that way because he's got the ability to put the cape on and kind of be Superman. But sometimes, I need him to be Clark Kent. So that's what we're working towards with him. And you guys have seen plenty of the Superman plays that he has. But sometimes you got to kind of just put your head down and keep going to work.
Yeah. I mean, that's common sense, people. I can't believe that there are articles about that literally say coaching staff must stop holding back Cam Ward and using that clip as but this is the next progression of Cam Ward, right? If you want the most out of Cam Ward, guess what? He has to learn to play the mundane parts of being quarterback, and that's sometimes dinking and dunking down the field to get a touchdown instead of getting incompletions deep.
Also, hitting fundamentally the gimmies. Sometimes there's a couple times every game I go, he's got that's supposed to be a completion. The guy's open and the ball's in the dirt somewhere and with no pressure. I don't know why that happens every game. You got to one thing when you're a rookie that I learned and a young player at any position is you need to master the fundamentals. And that sounds boring, but it is so valuable because those are the gimmies in the NFL. Now, then when it becomes a hard thing, then that's when you need the Superman cape, see? So I want you to master the fundamentals of your position, and then everything else will follow. Then you let your natural instinct take over. And I think that's when he's talking about the Superman part.
Yeah.
I didn't have any problem with the coach said. That was absolutely right on point, to be honest.
I also and y'all might feel differently, this is just my opinion, there's only a certain amount of quarterbacks that are even capable of being Superman and quote unquote putting on the cape or carrying a team. And it's that upper echelon of guys. When have we ever really seen a rookie that's put on the cape, so to say? We really haven't.
Well, and also those guys have learned when to put on the cape.
Yeah.
They've learned to when to go into the phone booth to change into Superman. They don't play superhero ball all 4 quarters.
Right.
And I think he said it right. He was talking about the 1st and 20 sometimes is a long handoff. And when we get in those 1st and 20 situations, we're kind of in the studio, me and Stoney, when we're watching these games, and Stoney will always say, hey, you don't have to get it all right here. You don't need all 20 right here on this play.
I'm going to go to a prime example. Last night, the 49ers-Seahawks game.
Oh, yeah.
1st and 20. What they run? Screen to Walker.
Yep.
First down. One time they handed it to him. He
that
got
was
the
3rd and
first down.
17. That was crazy.
Yeah. See? So it's don't let it go because the element is, what do you think happened on the 3rd and 17 when he ran?
They were
element of surprise because they didn't think they were going to run the ball either.
Well, weren't the Seahawks the one that did it a couple of weeks ago too? It was 3rd and 19 and they got it then too. And it's surely they're not going to be crazy enough to do it again. You know what I'm saying? And they did it.
Yeah, see, you can get away with that, especially on the road.
Yeah,
if you're at home now, they be boo because if it doesn't work, boy, you in trouble.
But yeah, that's it. For offenses, the number one goal is to stay ahead of the sticks and put up points. Now, sometimes you inevitably get behind the sticks, like a 1st and 20 or whatever. But again, like you're saying, that doesn't mean go for the big shot right away because it's 1st and 20. We could get it from 1st and 20 to 3rd and 5 in 2 plays. Then we're in a good spot. You know what I mean?
And I think that's the element that he's still learning. And you see him execute that sometimes. Sometimes you don't. It's all about consistency. When we're talking about Cam Ward, it's all about trying to find that consistency. And so that's why kind of hiring this next head coach is going to be so huge, is like, you got to focus on the consistency. You don't really have to focus on, well, he can only throw it deep or only throw it inside the numbers, so we can only do plays like that, or we can only do this. You need to broaden the portfolio of Cam Ward, so to speak, as a quarterback, and also help him realize that those Clark Kent moments get him to those Superman moments, and those Superman moments become more successful, explosive, because they become easier because you're bringing people up on the line. You're making defenses defend and respect your ability to manage that 0 to 9 yard area of the field. Because right now, all they have to do is kind of sit back in the 10 yard, a little bit deep, and confuse you, because they know that's where you want to go with the ball. And that's why he's had a little bit of turnovers. They know you want to hold on to it because you have that mentality. You guys start broadening that portfolio. Something we've talked about all year. I mean, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, but we're just seeing him kind of go through it. And he's processing it where he's realizing without, he has to believe it. I'm sure they've told him this, but, he has to see it in action and see it actually work.
Yeah.
Do y'all think that stems from college habits? And what I mean by that is look at Miami.
Absolutely.
Look at Miami last year. He had to be Superman with that defense, right?
Right. I definitely do. And I definitely think that there's an element. I think someone kind of brought it up in the chat on YouTube, was like, maybe the lack of talent around him also gives him that sense of, I have to be Superman as well, because I don't have the guys around me to help beat the. He doesn't have the Justice League.
No, it's easy to say that, but I think that's who he is. To be honest, I think you watch the Miami games, you see that when he was there at every level, because that's what he's been able to do and accomplish. And then sometimes you're just not going to be able to do that in the NFL. Not enough to say that's what you lean into all the time. But it's great. I mean, a lot of them don't have that quality. So you're just trying to will him back to be conservative at times and then be wow when needed. Yeah. And that's somewhat Clutch genes too as well. So he's got a lot of mechanisms working in his favor. It's just now adapting it to the NFL game. That's all this is. All we're all talking about is adapting his game to be effective, where it's consistent, almost game in and game out. You can still have your wild plays, but we want to make sure we hit the gimmies too and what they're providing and giving to us.
Yeah. Kind of looking at that Sam Darnold game last night, it was that he didn't really do that much spectacular. Now, I will say this. That missed play where he's looking at the running back that was streaking open for the touchdown, I think it was Zach Walker or Kenneth Walker.
That fourth quarter?
It was when they were that first drive. We remember he took the sack on the very first drive. I don't know if you were tuned in yet, but on the very first drive where they get all the way to the end zone.
Charbonnet in the flats?
Yeah, Charbonnet maybe. But they get all the way down there, and they call a play, and the running back is streaking wide open. He's looking at him, and then he, for whatever reason, doesn't throw the ball, looks off, and takes a sack. And you're just like, oh, man, is this going to be that kind of – because that was the first drive. Is this going to be that kind of Sam Darnold game? Because we've seen Sam Darnold have those games in the big moments and in the playoffs. But for the most part, what we've seen from Sam Darnold, even dating back to Carolina, is a guy that works the offense efficiently. And he can have his big games, whereas he has his bad moments. But a lot of times, big games or big plays will overshadow some of those turnovers, because he does lead the league in turnovers, but you wouldn't really hear that talked about a lot because they're sitting number one over in
he
NFC.
leads the league in turnovers? Oh, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
And they're still doing as well as they are. Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Listen, here's a fun stat for you. Cam Ward, with 271 yards today passing, which he has not gotten higher than 265. So I just want to throw that out there. But with 271 yards today passing, Ward would move into the top 5 all time for single season passing in Titans history as a rookie. So if he got 271, he would be over Steve McNair. So it'd be Ryan Tannehill 2020 season, Ryan Tannehill 2021 season, Matt Hasselbeck 2011 season, Marcus 2016 season, then Cam Ward if he got 271 passing yards today.
274 passing.
I don't know if that says more about the Tennessee Titans quarterbacks or Cam Ward.
Well, I think you're looking at it from a broad brush, but if you want to really dive into those
is
teams,
one extra game, too.
One extra game, but also those are running offenses. See, so your attempts. See, like, I would look at attempts. How many attempts has Cam Ward had compared to those quarterbacks? Because that's where the game has evolved, where it became more of a passing league. So you're going to have more attempts. So naturally, then your yardage is going to go up. So it's just stylistically, what are you trying to accomplish? To me, this is the most. That's why I keep talking about the run game, because we passed so much early on with Cam Ward. I was like, you're not going to be able to win games like this. It wasn't like you were forced to. They felt like throwing was a better option. It just they put everything on Cam Ward, especially where our receivers were young early in the season. So I would have done the total opposite. I would have leaned into the run game to help us try to win games and slow the game down. So it was just the style of the play caller was more throwing the football. And I just,
Okay, you want to hear it?
So what is the attempts?
This is already insane.
But yeah, I'm just guessing, just sitting here on the other side.
Okay, let's remove Houston Oilers quarterbacks. Where do you think Cam Ward sits in attempts?
Just with the Titans?
With the Titans.
Just for a single season?
Yeah, for a single season.
Probably, I won't say doubles, but he's probably close to doubling with the second guy.
Cam Ward has 537 pass attempts, which puts him at 3 all-time for the Oilers-Titans franchise. Number 1
history.
For Tennessee Titans.
Let's imagine now, Warren Moon ran the run and shoot. They threw a lot.
655 Warren Moon in 1991. Warren Moon in 1990 with 584. Cam Ward in 2025 with 537 single-season pass attempts. A rookie quarterback.
No, what was the highest 10?
They just did not put him in a position to succeed.
What was the other number? So 530-something to what?
The next one is 531, Ryan Tannehill, but above him is 584.
Oh.
So Tannehill got to 530?
531 in the 2021 season.
Okay. I just wanted to know, because I know we lean on Derek a lot, and obviously you want to have the run game, but I was interested if he ever threw the ball that much or close to it. So
5.8 yards per attempt, though, and that's the issue. Is he doesn't have the yards to go with those attempts, and that's kind of why obviously
low number.
You
Playmakers.
gotta have the playmakers, but also just doesn't feel like that to me. Like everybody wants him to play Superman. That to me is a sign right here that they're asking him to do too much as a rookie, and that is where Clark Kent probably needed to come and play a little bit more, because he'd have a little bit more completions, because he's sitting among those guys that those 2 Warren Moon seasons and Ryan Tannehill's season, 59.6 completion percentage. They were at 61.7, 62, and 67.2 respectively for the 2 Warren Moons and Ryan Tannehill. So, it is kind of crazy that the rookie, he will have the Titans only, not Oilers, but Titans only single season record for pass attempts, but he'll be 3rd for single season pass attempts as a rookie for Oilers and Titans. That is wild.
No, I expected that.
Oh, you expected to be that high?
Because how much he was passing every game.
Yeah.
But based off what I've seen.
I wouldn't have expected that at the beginning of the year.
Oh,
though. Yeah.
going into
I wasn't sure, though. I
yeah?
wouldn't have been surprised, but yeah.
It is Brian Callahan. He didn't like to run.
See, my rookie year, when we come in, it's after they get beat by Buffalo in the playoffs, and they were up 38-3.
Yeah.
And so what Buddy Ryan said, and this is a staple, and I believe this is, throwing the football in the National Football League have moved the chains down the field, but it won't score you touchdowns in the red zone, was his quote. And it will cost us a Super Bowl. This is his word.
Yeah.
So then I just start paying attention to how much we're throwing the football. And so what they did was they put a tight end in the run and shoot and took one of the receivers out and start running the football more. Telling you in that time, which they were ahead of the curve, is they were throwing the ball more than everybody else. Everybody else was running the football. And they still was able to run the football. So you needed to have a mixture of both and being able to stylistically win games, running the football and passing the football.
Yeah.
That's what it told me from that point on. And so until you get to that point, then will you be an elite level offense? And that's, we could
Seahawks are a good example of that.
And that's why I like I don't know who's going to play, but I like Mr. Kubiak.
Yeah, Clint Kubiak.
I don't know anything about him as a head coach or personality or anything like that, but stylistically, I know I like my offense to look like how his does.
Let me tell you, that offensive lineman, if you love watching offensive linemen play, last night's Seattle Seahawks game was offensive line nirvana. Those guys were getting to the second level. They have a Cornelius Lucas out there who
Cowboy collar, I was gonna say.
who has the cowboy collar on too. So it's aesthetically appealing as well.
He looks
but
tough.
like they were going to the second level. They were washing out guys. AJ Barner, the tight end.
I like him.
Woo!
Well, who they got?
I like him as a receiver.
They got Gray Zabel from I forget which Dakota, but in the first
I think it's
round,
North Dakota State.
Yeah, in the first round, FCS lineman.
Yeah.
the
baller,
Vrabel.
dog.
Oh man, they were. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Exactly. That's kind of like what I envision.
Yeah.
Like I wish the Titans could do because they can win throwing the football. They can. The foundation of it is we're going to run the football, but we can beat you in multiple ways, and then that sets up everything else with the play action pass. One thing I did learn in that game, though, sometimes when you play action pass and they blitz and you get your back, sometimes the quarterback loses focus after that first read and then gets sacked.
Yeah.
Because they coming after you. So you got to be able to check out of those plays that your play action pass or be able to, pause them a little bit before they come all out if they got some, man-to-man type.
Hey, that's why, too, the elite ones, the great ones, they get that snap on a play action. They take one little peek before they turn their back just to see what's coming.
You know what Ross likes to do? He likes to tell me we got to go to break, and then he wants to get in the last word and extend the break a little bit longer.
Oh, I would
He's
never.
like, we got to go break. We got to go break. But here I got to come in and talk at the
Ross
very
would
end.
never do that.
Yeah, Ross.
It's not a hard break. It's just a break.
All right. This is Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. Lee Company. All you need to visit them online at leecompany.com. This is 104.5 The Zone. It's the Lee Company countdown to kickoff. Lee Company. All you need, visit them online at leecompany.com. Titans trust their home stadium to Lee Company to tackle their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical problems, and they can protect your home too. Your next play, visit leecompany.com. Lee Company. All you need. Adam Schefter. We'll get to inactives for Titans Jaguars here in just a minute, but Adam Schefter was on ESPN this morning talking about potential head coaching vacancies popping up, because every time a job opens up, that affects the Tennessee Titans, whether that's a new candidate being added to the pool or a competitive environment for an open spot for one of the head coaches out there. So just a few of the names that he ran through. Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he's leaning safe and expected to stay. He would be leaving of his own volition if he were to leave from the Steelers, but he's expected to lean safe and expected to stay. John Harbaugh, he's leaning safe for John Harbaugh. Now, that game has big implications, and depending on how that game goes today, Ravens versus Steelers for a chance at the playoffs. Maybe one team gets blown out. Maybe that changes everybody's mind at the table, but he's leaning safe right now. Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns out as a potential to be fired. They're going to keep their GM, Andrew Berry, though, that has been there about as long as Kevin Stefanski, which points to, whether you guys want to hear it or not, that maybe the coaching is the issue and not the GM and not the roster. That's at least what the Browns are telling you guys. Zach Taylor of the Bengals, safe, which is kind of a little surprising to me. He's kind of flown under the radar, but he's looking to be safe. Pete Carroll of the Raiders, out. Raheem Morris is an interesting one. If I were the Falcons, I would keep Raheem Morris another year. Because especially if he wins today, that would put them at 8-9, if I'm not mistaken, right? 8-9, which is better than anything you had under Art Smith, who went 7-10 the rest of the year. And they've had tons of injuries, and they played some lights-out football these last few weeks to get them to this 8-9. I would think that you should keep them, but you never know with the Arthur Blank, I was about to say Smith, on that. Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, he's leaning safe with the Dolphins. And that's many, many people have reported that Mike McDaniel, they would be a little surprised if he was fired. He seems to be...
Really? With Troy Aikman coming in with hiring a GM?
Yeah, well, you see, that's also weird, right? Like, what is Troy Aikman doing down with Miami? What do you think Jerry Jones thinks about that?
He won't have any say-so with us, so I don't know. That's why he's with Miami.
I just wonder. It's just so weird. It's just so weird. Like,
well, you never know where the relationship is there with the ownership group.
That's true. That's true. Sean McDermott, safe, which I think we can all... I mean, I know he can still technically... I guess if he loses in the playoffs at some point, maybe that changes. And Aaron Glenn, safe. I don't think there's going to be that many head coaching job openings right now. And typically there's about 7 or 8. There may only be 4 or 5, and that's actually plays in favor for the Tennessee Titans as well. Less people you're competing with out there.
For sure.
I thought that was crazy. Yeah. All right. Let's get to the Titans inactives. We have Jacksonville's inactives are cornerback Keith Taylor, offensive lineman Patrick McCarry, tight end Hunter Long, tight end Patrick Herbert, defensive lineman Emmanuel Agba, defensive tackle Mason Smith. For the Tennessee Titans inactives, it's safety Amani Hooker, edge Arden Key, guard Drew Moss, guard Garrett Dellinger, offensive tackle Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon, and tight end Gunnar Helm is out today. He's been battling with a little bit of a toe injury. So Bryce Oliver called up. He'll be ready to rock and roll. He's called off the 21-day practice window of the IR. So he looks like he's going to be ready to go. Also, Ali Gay will be ready to go for the edge position. No Femi Oladejo. Officially his year was over just a couple days ago officially, but not coming back this year. That's a lot of valuable time lost for a player that needed reps.
You know who gained because of his absence?
Jalen Harrell.
Yeah, man, he definitely came on, and as far as a role player rotational piece, I think you could say we got us one, especially as a late pick a couple years ago. So yeah, he turned the corner. He's gotten better. I think he had like 4 or 5 sacks in a row.
Yeah, he's averaged half a sack for 5 games.
Yes,
at the very least. So I'm looking at the safety position. That means Sanusi Kane or Jarek Reed is going to start opposite Kendall Brooks.
Yeah, Kane from Purdue.
Yeah, and then Eric Hallett is the guy way behind him. I know at one point they thought they may put Kyer Elam out there, but, now Kyer Elam's going to have to pay cornerback. Like, this defensive backfield is, right now, I cannot believe this is what it looks like.
Harris is up, right?
Yeah, Harris is out. He was on IR. So here it is. Jalen Armour-Davis is out. So it's Kyer Elam and Darrell Baker Jr. on the outside. Micah Robinson as the nickel corner. And Kendall Brooks as a safety, and then either Sanusi Kane or Jarek Reed.
I'm not. Really,
that's a wild defensive back
I'm
group.
not. Yeah, I mean, you could play a lot of zone, make them think and dunk, but man, you talking about the receiving core of the Jags, man, and the tight end.
Let's get Blaine on a flight right now. I think he can get there by
get you down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't help him at this point. I don't think I can do it better what they doing. No way. Golly.
Let's just say they need to get to the quarterback.
At the beginning of the year, the only person that was on this 53 roster in the defensive backfield was Darrell Baker Jr. Everybody else that's playing was signed or throughout the year.
Watch this. I signed Darrell Baker to an extension.
I mean, he's not great, but I mean, everything he does, steady Eddie.
And he's definitely available.
I'm with you.
He's always available.
Always
most of the
there.
time, man.
I mean, that is insane.
Man, this guy is like, hey, man, I appreciate the opportunity.
If only they had like a 5th round draft pick that was in its second year, that was, like a Jarvis Brownlee Jr. type player.
I forgot all about him, yeah.
Or if they even had maybe a Roger McCreary type player. I mean, this maybe wouldn't look as bad.
Lose him.
I don't know. It's just crazy when you think about all the defensive backs that we've seen kind of rotate in and out for this team.
No more Snead, huh?
Yeah, no more Snead for sure. I mean, we haven't heard from Snead. Has anybody even seen Snead on the sidelines or anything? I mean, I don't even know.
He should have been proof of life.
Is he still
Do you think
around?
they tell him he can't go to a away game?
I don't know. We just haven't seen anybody say
he's
like
injured. Probably not.
Haven't seen. 'Cause sometimes you'll get like so and so in a walking boot or so and so doing this. We haven't even seen that. That's kind of wild. Sanusi Kane starting safety for
Did he go to Purdue?
I think so. I think we looked this up before.
Oh, did you?
I think so.
Oh, I don't remember because I have no idea. Where did the other guy go? Where did Brooks go?
I do not know about Kendall Brooks. Sanusi Kane was Purdue.
Right.
And Kendall Brooks,
Michigan State.
Oh, so 2 Big Teners.
Some Big Ten.
They can play.
Yeah.
They ain't scared.
They're not.
We done played against, did you see what the Big Ten did this weekend?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, we hit a nerve.
Don't want to talk about it.
It's okay. The real team in red and white represented. That was crazy.
They
just
left
to see
no
that.
doubt on the field who the better red and white team was.
Man, I can't believe IU is just. They have no 5 stars. And
it's insane.
It's all hard nosed. They must have a.
That's what I call him, Frank Signetti. Kurt Signetti.
Yeah, Kurt. Yeah, man. He had some crazy looks on the sideline too, man. He was hilarious.
But
he's awesome. He's fun.
But so let's just say today we've got to get to the quarterback. Otherwise, this hodgepodge of defensive backs that we got out there is going to have to be covering for a little longer than we would all like to see.
We're able to do that.
I mean, you just got to hope that Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat and Jalen Harrell and Jihad Ward can just wreck shop like they've been doing. But even when they've been doing it and been getting to the quarterback, I mean, let me tell you guys this. I looked this up the other day. Tavondre Sweat has increased his pressure rate by 4% this year. But we wouldn't know because it doesn't really seem that way because he plays nose tackle. But like everybody's wanting him to be some big old pass rusher. I'm like, guys, he's a nose tackle. Like, he can affect the play in other ways where it allows Jeff Simmons or Big Jeff or Jalen Harrell, Jihad Ward to get there. Tavondre Sweat has been playing some damn good football this year. Just think, though.
When available.
Can we get Big Jeff to get him on the same body transformation that he was on? That's what we really need.
Or J.C. Latham, too.
Yeah, or J.C. Latham.
I mean, J.C. Latham, they're in the same class, and he did his own this past offseason.
Man, just think, though, if you could get, Tavondre Sweat in a little bit more shape, oh, man, he'd be a true game wrecker then. But listen, I thought Tavondre Sweat's played well, but, man, this defensive backfield, I don't know how you slow them down. How do you slow them down? Is it really just playing just a lot of zone?
Oh, I definitely know how. Pray.
That's always an option.
Hey, man.
Get some candles.
Play some zone, man. Let them catch it, but let's elongate this game. Then eventually the coach be like, hey, man, come on, man. Let's speed this game up, man. You got to start blitzing and see what happens there in the open field. So,
well, you can't let them run the football because, you can't give them that two-way, like, we can just pick and choose whatever from the playbook to get us yards. Like,
so they're going to have opportunities.
Yeah.
They're going to have opportunities.
Just pray. Hey, hold on tight.
Those dudes are highly motivated out there. They show that they belong and they get an opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity, man.
Because you're going to get to play the full game, right?
So
I mean,
man,
all eyes on you. This tape is going to be your best tape.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, especially those receivers they got. Those are quality receivers there, man. All three of them, man.
And not only him, but also, Denard Wilson's putting stuff out on tape too, right? Here's what I did with Sanusi Kane and Kyer Elam and Micah Robinson, like guys that weren't even on our roster. Here's what I was able to do against Jacksonville Jaguars.
Did he say somebody wanted to interview for a head coach job here?
Yeah, he was asked. Do you think they should be asked in press conferences if you want, like...
I guess you could ask anything at this point, but...
I don't know. It just feels like you're kind of putting them out there.
Fossil did that too, right?
Bones said that he was wanting to be another head coach. I think they even asked Mike McCoy. Like,
oh, did they?
I don't know. Like, I do think Denard Wilson has done a really good job, but also it's just like when you ask that question, what else is he supposed to say?
Right.
And then now you're putting the Titans kind of in a bad position if they don't interview Denard Wilson, but maybe nobody will really care. I don't know what fans will and won't care about in this cycle, but I don't know. It just seems really weird.
Yeah, I thought he did an admirable job, but now the new coach coming in probably not going to go in the direction.
Do you think that the way the team has looked over the last month and a half would have been different under a Denard Wilson or Bones Fossil? Would they have gotten there faster? Do you think Mike McCoy got the same results those two guys would have gotten?
Well, that's really hard to say. That's just projection there.
Yeah.
I have no idea because I've never seen either one of these guys in that kind of role. I would probably lean more towards Fossil because he interacts with every level of player on the team.
Yeah.
And they have a huge advantage because they've heard their voice before with special teams coach.
Because to be fair, some of those people never heard Mike McCoy's voice ever when he got hired.
Right. See,
He
so
even
that
said
was a
that.
switch up. Remember that? That's all of a sudden now we got a young team. Now we're listening to someone else's voice. So he wasn't even like a main guy like that was speaking in front of the offense, and so that's big there. So it took a little bit of time for that too. I had to commend them. They all adjusted and moved on. They had no choice, and I think they figured it all out on what works and what doesn't, and then they started looking different. They did. They really did.
I think they would have been worse on Sundays with Denard.
Ooh.
If they picked him. And that is nothing against Denard, by the way.
No.
It's
adding
Ross
on,
Johnston at Cumulus for all those angry emails.
No, but it's adding on responsibility to someone who is a play caller for one side of the football, adding the game management responsibility.
And being that this was his second year, too.
Exactly. Like, that's a lot to take on. So I'm glad they went with McCoy. Fossil would have been all right, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Because he's also, when you're a special teams coach, you're also, see, I learned all this with Harbaugh with the Eagles, who's now the head coach of the Ravens. You're also in the game management part of it.
Yeah.
So your thought process as a special team coach is already a mechanism of game management because you're watching all the time when the special teams are supposed to be down before when we may punt or not punt. Should we go for a field goal? Should we not? Should we onside? So you're already right there. So I would definitely interview Fossil, even if it's just to get a little more inside information just on the actual team and the vibe of the team. Yeah. You can't go wrong with a guy like that. Been in this league that long, too.
I will say this. We're going to be waiting a while to figure out who the head coach is going to be because they can't have in-person interviews for anybody employed on a team till January 19th at the earliest.
Don't be tweeting out a chart that I can't read, man.
Yeah, this is all color-coded. Look, I got it right here.
Gotta put your
I got it right here. I got it right here. It's all color-coded. It's all color-coded for you.
Like, oh, my gosh, you got it color-coded for every...
We can't get it that big on the phone, man.
Oh, my gosh. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Eventually we'll
Great
get...
information, but the font was a little small for us old guys.
Yeah, I'll eventually get rid of some of these guys off the list. Because, like, if Mike Tomlin's not getting fired, they'll be make it a little bit wider. But, like, right now, they could start virtual interviews with anybody not employed by an NFL team.
So give us one name.
Mike McCarthy would be the example of that.
Okay.
On Tuesday, they can interview both the court or any coach off the Seahawks team because they played on a Saturday and they got a bye in the playoffs.
Oh, so that game extra.
So they can interview Clint Kubiak or the defensive coordinator Aiden Durd if they so choose. Then Wednesday would be the next earliest for anybody that is playing today that is eliminated from the playoffs. So that would be your guys like Matt Nagy, Lou Anarumo, Cliff Kingsbury, Anthony Weaver, Mike Kafka, Jim Schwartz, Denard Wilson, Mike McCoy, Brian Flores. And obviously...
And ultimately maybe Arthur Smith.
Smith if they lose. So like if the Steelers lose, you could do Wednesday for Arthur Smith. If the Steelers win, we have to wait to see what the playoff schedule's like because those coaches that make the playoffs that do not have a bye, for whatever reason, cannot interview this week. They can interview the week following the games, which and you don't even have to be eliminated at that point. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me for these timelines, but these are 3-hour Zoom calls, so you'll be on the Zoom. And they said that it will be Brinker, Borgonzi, Ziegler, and Reggie McKenzie on those Zoom calls. So those will be your kind of round table of the first round, at least. And then in-person start 19th, and there's an extra date for in-persons for people, for second in-persons, which are late 20s, January 20th or something, 27th or something like that. So, yeah, could be a long while depending on how the playoffs shake out.
So what's the latest you think they'll have hired?
I think they'll have someone hired. It's hard to say because I don't know.
When does free agency start?
March.
So it got to be in February.
But Senior Bowl is last week of January. So you would hope you don't necessarily have to have your coach by then because technically your scouts can handle all that and your GM can handle all that. I think that they'll have someone hired by January 25th, January 26th, something like that. Yeah, heading into the Senior Bowl, I bet they'll have their guy already locked up. But it really depends on the playoffs. And are you willing to wait? See, that's the other thing. Do you get ants in your pants? Patience over panic, as they say.
I'm going to give you an actual date, February 15th.
February 15th.
When's the Super Bowl? Is the first weekend of February?
Yeah.
You're saying they're going to go on a little Valentine's Day with their prospective their number one candidate.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then just make it official the next day.
Yeah, because they don't want to one-up
Put a
the
ring on it.
Super Bowl and everything else, you know.
They're going to put a ring on it, maybe a Super Bowl ring on it.
Give it a little smooch.
Maybe be somebody who coached in the Super Bowl. That's why they got 1 week.
You never know. You always see. That's the thing. How the playoffs shape out can change your whole trajectory as a franchise for this head coaching search. It's just scary, by the way, because do you want to be patient or are all the jobs filling up with guys that you kind of view pretty close? I don't know. It's going to be wild, but I definitely, just to throw it out there, it's definitely not going to be next week. All right.
No.
That will do it for us. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff. The last one of the year. Blaine Bishop, Zach Lyons. We had Buck Rising on the phone. Ross behind the glass. Okay. Titans radio coverage is produced by Joseph Bonanno. Studio producer, Justin Hawkins. Studio host, Lucas Panzica. Promotions director, Rich Ferris. Director of sales, Hunter Rice. General manager, Allison Warren. Operations manager, Paul Mason. Executive producer, Rhett Bryan. We've appreciated everybody being here with us throughout the regular season.
No doubt.
Waking up early, starting your day with us. Titans Radio is up next. This is the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff right here on 105 The Zone.
Tighten up!